and thanks for checking out the video. Today I'm trying to track a part of an old canal, and I do plan on camping out tonight, but it's going to be rather difficult, I think, because you know there's no access land around. There's not many places that really look campable on the map, and from the little local knowledge I know. So I'm not even going to attempt to light a fire. I'm going to rely on a meth stove. Haven't done that for a few years, and really go into stealth mode. Actually, I'm going to try and use the same sort of thing that I always use: a military cape, 6-foot square piece of cotton canvas, and try and sort of create some kind of bivvy bag out of it. So I think that will be the most sort of low profile thing to do, bearing in mind I'll probably be camping in sort of some kind of scrub or wasteland. So yeah, really try and keep it stealthy today. Amongst the jungle of overgrowth, you can just trace what would have been the bed of the canal along here. So yeah, there are signs of it, which is good, because there's been so much agricultural taking over this land that a lot of signs of the canal have completely disappeared. Yeah, and the line of the canal bed abruptly ends here, and you can clearly see that it's been filled in to make way for agriculture. Yeah, as well as the problem of trying to find somewhere to camp tonight and not being able to light a fire, you know, which I like, and also keeps me warm through the night. Also, the weather's taken a turn for the worse. It's now predicting quite heavy rain tonight, and the sort of experimental type bivvy bag type thing that I'm hoping to be able to use might fail me. You know, I was hoping for a dry night really, just to test things out. So I brought my ridge line along as well, and if there was anywhere with a few shrubs around or the odd tree, I might attempt to try and do a small lean-to shelter, which is going to provide much more protection from the weather. There's the line of the canal. Pretty quiet meadow here. It's small little meadow, but if you don't mind chest-high grass, could be a potential camp spot, you know, very much out of the way from everyone, that is. Very clearly defined towpath and canal along here. In fact, I wonder if there's still water underneath all that growth at the bottom of the canal there. We are on the southern edge, southern side of an old landfill site here, so I guess there could be something to do with gases being released, either to release the gases or to measure the amount of off-gassing that's coming out of the old landfill. But these are spaced approximately every 50 metres along the towpath here. The canal seems so deep along this bit. Must have been one of the last sort of navigatable parts of the canal. I went online last night and looked up as try and find some bits and pieces about this canal. And the Act of Parliament that set it into motion was 1817. The work started in 1818 and it was finished in 1823, apparently. You know, all 11 miles of it, 4 locks. But it was only used for a short time, you know. It was pretty much became non-navigatable in 1847, you know, sort of less than 25 years service, and then it was abandoned in 1855. So I'm not sure what they were thinking then. I know that they were very concerned about the hostilities with France, and they wanted an inland route to take goods and services as opposed to shipping them down the channel where they felt they were more vulnerable. You know, but the Napoleonic Wars were over really by then. A couple of years previously, I think, Napoleon had his chips, you know. Do you camp on top of an old landfill site? Nah. Not sure where it is now. I think it could be down on the left-hand side of this road. Yeah, I reckon this road follows the line of the old towpath, and down there is the canal. There might be some potential camp spots just tucked off the road here, beside these fields. Following the line of the canal, clearly it's been chopped in half by the railway. Of course, the railway would have been built after the canal. Here we go. Clearly running beside the canal now. What remains of a swing bridge? Remains of another swing bridge. Clearly being looked after. There's repairs to the top brickwork and the coping there as well. This stone plinth, plus a lot of cast iron work, would have provided the bearing for the swing bridge. Another swing bridge was here as well. Despite the long grass, the canal very clearly defined along here. Nearly 200 years ago, I'd be underwater now. I wonder what the navvies who dug this out by hand would make of one of them. Nice. once again, it's quite easy to make out the canal cutting. Well, I'm following the footpath, but I've pretty much lost track of the canal now. I'm hoping that the footpath will reconnect up with the canal at some point soon. Hoping the canal will pop back into my life. It's looking a bit more promising. This is it. This is the end of the line for the canal, really, because at this point it joins the river, which is just behind you. So that would have been the starting point or the ending point of the canal, if you like. And this stone here is apparently all that remains of lock 1. This would have been at the bottom of the lock, and the lock gates would have pivoted on it, apparently. There's a little sign up there that tells me that. Naturally enough, being a canal walk, it's a linear walk, so as opposed to a circular walk, so I've got to head back from whence I came. So yeah, I'm going to have to get back on the road soon and start heading back. I want to try and get back to where some of those more secluded sort of meadows and fields were, hopefully to be able to camp the night there. another swing bridge bearing just off the main footpath. And this is where that swing bridge would have stood. And it's still a public right-of-way now. I think these are swallows zooming around this field. It's lovely to watch them. Yeah, so I've kind of picked a spot here. This field has been mown, which is quite handy. The one next door, which is more private, is still very long grass, and you know, it's absolutely smothered in flies and insects. So I think it would be a bit nightmarish of a night if I was to attempt to go there, even though I can pick a much more secluded spot there. But this mown meadow is fine, you know. There's an entrance over there. It's way in the distance, so I'm hoping that it's, you know, no traffic's going to turn up, put it that way. If a tractor comes along, you know, I'm in trouble. Yeah, but it's been a long day, but not too bad. Yeah, tonight I'm going to attempt to put something up which is akin to a bivvy bag, using one of my military capes, you know, the usual 6 foot by 6 foot square of cotton canvas. And it was meant to be a good forecast, but late last night it changed, of course, and tonight's meant to be rain. So you know, with the experimental system I'm going to use, I didn't really wanted to test it out on a dry night, really, but it's going to get a thorough test tonight, I should think, and it could all end in tears. Tonight it is the usual, which is of course vegetable stew, albeit the added twist that it's being cooked on methylated spirits. Cut the pieces fairly small because I'm not sure how long things will take to cook on that little trangia, and obviously we've got a limited amount of fuel. Some herbs, some oil, liquid oil this time. Going to wait for the onions to start to go, and then I'll top it up with water. Be nice if the weather stayed like this tonight. Breeze has picked up a bit. Just stop the flame getting blown around and might conserve a bit of the fuel. That's been boiling for a few minutes now, so I'm going to add in the dry ingredients. The dry ingredients are the usual fare. So we've got mushrooms, dried peas. They're dehydrated at home, really easy to do. I also chucked in a load of lentils as well. You know, the red lentils. And some soya chunks, the usual malarkey goes in there. And that can just cook through. And I'll chuck in a stock cube a little bit later on. Half a stock cube. Right, that's done. It's insect repellent. I brought this with me today because I knew there was a lot of low-lying water around here, and it might help. It's only a plant-based one. It's not very strong, not very severe, so probably unlikely to be very effective. It's not DEET or anything like that. Yeah, but I did bring it along just in case. Better leave it out, I suppose. So let's try and turn this military cape into some kind of bivvy bag. So we folded it in half, and then we've got to button it up all the way around. You leave the last couple of buttons and it gives you a chance to get in and out, hopefully. So this is the feet end and this is the head end, and hopefully a flap like that to get in and out. I've got these lightweight titanium pegs, so I thought I could peg it out just so when you're rolling about, I roll about a lot in my sleep, I move all the time. Hopefully this will just keep it in some kind of order. So we can peg out the back of the flap quite strongly. We have to come in closer to allow a bit of bagginess, because if it was tight across like this, it'd be too tight. By the time you slide in, you'd be stretching it. So we've got to bring it in about 6 inches so it's slightly loose before you get in it. Something like that. We won't put the pegs right in until we know we've got it in a good position. At this point, I'd probably be browsing through my phone, but unfortunately you've got it. Midnight. An hour and a half of quite heavy rain, and it needs to stop soon if I'm going to stay reasonably dry. As you can imagine, that was a hell of a night, really. Yeah, very wet for 2.5 hours, I suppose. It was raining. Thank goodness it's not raining now. I stayed on dry, you know. My feet got wet. There's something going on at the bottom there, whether the water was running in under one of the flats there, or well, there was a little bit of a leak. I don't know, but I think it could have been, the water could have been catching and running under in this bit here, actually. But I was inside and I didn't want to open anything up to have a look because that would have just made me wetter. But yeah, apart from that, I'm dry, so it did do a job as a sort of bivvy bag. Yeah, but it was a baptism of fire, really. I didn't really want to put it through that kind of test, but yeah, it came out the other side anyway. So yeah, I'll get this packed away now and put a brew on.